A movie begins, and before anything happens, you already know exactly how to feel. Not because of the actors, but because of the music. Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter. This is John Williams, and for decades, he hasn't just scored films, he's shaped how we experience them. So the question is, how powerful can music really be? Studios treated scores as just another production cost, background noise to fill the silence, not art to be remembered. The system ran on tight schedules and tighter budgets. Most films got a modest pit orchestra, sometimes as few as 30 players, crammed into a studio, recording cues to match every step, every glance, every crash. The music's job was simple: stay out of the way, make the dialogue pop, smooth the cuts, and never ever steal the spotlight from the story or the stars. Composers worked under contract, churning out functional underscore by the yard. Max Steiner's King Kong listed more than 500 cue changes, each one tailored to a moment but rarely to a larger theme. Bernard Herrmann's Psycho used a string-only ensemble, not for grandeur, but for psychological effect, sharp, raw, and often unsettling. Even the greats like Alfred Newman and Miklos Rozsa, who could command a 70-piece orchestra for an epic, still operated within a system that saw music as support, not as a headline. But audiences were changing. By the 1960s, new technology, magnetic tape, and stereo sound let studios try bigger, bolder scores. Yet the old habits lingered. Most films still relied on background mood music, with memorable themes reserved for only the most lavish productions. The average ensemble size rarely topped 30, and the music kept its distance, careful not to draw too much attention. Then, something broke the pattern. John Williams walked into Hollywood with a different agenda. He didn't want music to hide in the shadows. He wanted it front and center, full orchestra, sweeping melody, and emotion that could drive a story as powerfully as any actor or director. Was this a return to classical greatness, or the start of something entirely new? And in an industry built on speed and compromise, could one composer really change the rules for everyone else? What happens when music refuses to be just background? And who gets to decide if a theme is just a cue or a cultural event? Hollywood always had giants, but not like this. John Williams didn't just revive melody, he weaponized it. His sound owes a debt to the late Romantic titans, Korngold's lush harmonies, Steiner's sweeping gestures, the grandeur of Strauss and Wagner. Yet Williams took those colours and made them thunder through the Dolby stereo age. 90-piece orchestras, brass that could rattle a theatre's bones, strings that could break your heart or send chills down your spine. Every theme a calling card, every motif a narrative anchor. But the world didn't stand still. While Williams was turning film music into symphonic spectacle, Hans Zimmer was building a new empire. Zimmer's scores pulse with electronics, built on deep bass and relentless rhythm. The orchestra shrinks, the computer grows. Think Inception, a wall of sound, not a melody you can hum. Zimmer's style is all about atmosphere, tension and texture, music that burrows under your skin without ever breaking into song. He's the architect of the modern blockbuster's digital heart. Then there is Ennio Morricone. His music is a landscape, spare, strange, unforgettable. Whistling, electric guitar, church bells, even cracking whips. Morricone's themes for Sergio Leone's westerns are as iconic as any Williams fanfare, but they haunt more than they soar. He made silence and space into musical weapons, rewriting the rules for what a film score could be. So, what makes Williams unique? In a world split between digital minimalism and avant-garde experimentation, he doubled down on melody and orchestral power. His themes are not just background, they are the emotional spine of the story. They are instantly recognizable, endlessly adaptable, and impossible to ignore. That is why his music fills concert halls from Boston to Berlin. Why even a child who has never seen Star Wars can hum the main theme. But here is the tension. Does leaning on the old symphonic tradition make Williams the last of his kind, or the most radical composer of the modern era? Is melody a relic, or the secret weapon that still rules Hollywood? Debate in the comments. Where does greatness really live? In the past, the present, or the sound that makes us feel alive? E to F, low and slow, in the darkest corner of the orchestra, cellos and basses grinding out a minor second, doubled by timpani. No melody, no comfort, just the pulse of something coming for you. John Williams didn't need a grand theme for Jaws. He needed a warning. The simplicity is almost primitive, like a heartbeat gone wrong. Every time those notes repeat, the water feels less safe. The motif is not just music, it is the shark itself. You can't see it, but you feel it, lurking, patient, unstoppable. There is no escape in harmony, no relief in rhythm. The density of sound, with 6 basses, 8 cellos, trombones and tuba, creates a pressure that builds under your skin. Psychologists call the minor, second, the most dissonant interval, loaded with tension, hardwired for unease. Williams weaponized that instinct. The result? Fear in 2 notes. No dialogue needed, no visual required. The music alone tells you danger is here. Would any other composer have dared to make so little say so much? A blinding flash of brass. Timpani strike like a starting pistol. The first seconds of Star Wars don't just announce a film, they launch an adventure. Williams plants a C major triad in the middle of the orchestra, voiced in unison by trumpets, trombones, horns and tuba. It's not subtle, it's a musical exclamation point, a fanfare that grabs you by the collar and hurls you into hyperspace. The London Symphony Orchestra, 95 players strong, recorded that opening at Abbey Road on June 23, 1977. Session notes show Williams himself conducting, cueing the brass to hit with maximum force. Underneath, the timpani and basses lock in, anchoring the theme with pure physical weight. But it's more than volume. The melody rides the top line, clear and heroic, but listen deeper and you'll hear layers, strings racing in arpeggios, woodwinds doubling the harmony, percussion adding shimmer and attack. Every note is engineered to brand itself on your memory. This isn't just a theme, it's a musical logo, instantly recognizable, endlessly adaptable, and impossible to ignore. The effect is immediate. You know you're in a world where heroes rise, villains threaten, and anything can happen. How many notes does it take to launch a universe? For Williams, 3 will do. A Celesta's bell-like shimmer opens Hedwig's theme, its notes drifting in the Lydian mode, where the 4th step rises, tilting the melody just off-center. That raised 4th, E-flat to A natural, gives the theme its weightless, enchanted feel. A sound both familiar and strange. Musicologists trace the spell to this subtle shift, the way Williams threads modal harmony and timbral color to conjure a world. Yet enchantment alone does not explain the reach of these melodies. Williams's record stands 5 Academy Awards, 54 Oscar nominations, surpassed only by Walt Disney. The timeline of his scores reads like a map of modern cinema: Jaws, Star Wars, E.T., Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, and Harry Potter. Archival photos capture Williams guiding the London Symphony Orchestra at Abbey Road, baton poised, every cue documented. Boston Pop's concerts and Skywalker sound sessions fill decades of logs. His music is more than beautiful, proven, awarded, instantly recognizable. Here, technical mastery and official recognition merge, completing the case for melody as both art and evidence. John Williams didn't just write themes. He minted audio logos that turned movies into franchises and soundtracks into global brands. The Star Wars fanfare isn't confined to the opening crawl. It blasts from theme park speakers at Disney's Galaxy's Edge, launches television ads, and sells out arenas from Los Angeles to Tokyo. Licensing deals run into the millions. Williams's music pulses through Lego sets, action figures, and video games. The Imperial March alone is licensed for parades, halftime shows, and even smart toys that play the cue on command. In 2022, a YouGov poll found that 84% of respondents could recognize the Star Wars theme within 3 seconds, outperforming even the most successful advertising jingles. Studios are not just buying emotion, they are buying a hook that sells tickets, merchandise, and memories. Is there any other composer whose music makes the cash register ring before the first note of dialogue? Deadlines in Hollywood are not suggestions, they are ultimatums. For John Williams, the clock rarely stopped ticking. Studios expected a finished score in less than a month. 24 days on average to write, orchestrate, and record music that would outlive the film itself. One eye on the manuscript, the other on the calendar. Directors like Spielberg and Lucas trusted Williams to deliver the emotional core of their stories, but that trust came with a price. Endless rewrites, last-minute edits, and cues rewritten at midnight to match a new cut. The orchestra would wait on the stage while fresh pages arrived, hot off the composer's pencil. There was no safety net. If the theme didn't land, the whole film felt it. Each success only raised the bar. The next score had to be bigger, bolder, more unforgettable. Can any composer survive that kind of pressure for 50 years? Or does greatness demand living in the furnace, always one deadline away from disaster? Debate below. How much genius is just endurance under fire? Williams built a sound empire across 5 decades, 53 Oscar nominations, and melodies recognized on every continent. In a digital world drowning in noise, his orchestral power still sets the standard. Genius, or just the last master of a vanishing art?